Hey everybody, Thoughtful Husband here. Got a quick one for you. This one's called the weekly meeting. Now I recommend every single couple have a weekly meeting. I definitely advocate for people to treat their relationships and treat their families, their marriages, with the same intentionality that they would their jobs, their businesses. Why? Because families, they're complex structures and they need sometimes complex solutions. A family, really, what is that? What is a relationship? What is a family? It's hundreds of agreements, and a high level of participation and collaboration. So how are you going to do that if you don't meet? How are you going to do that if you don't talk? And when are you going to do that? Well, that's why I think it's so important for you, anyone, and maybe everyone, to have something called a weekly meeting. Well, it's pretty simple. You know, what do? It's the same time every week. You could have some coffee or tea on a Sunday morning. Sundays are often the favorite, by the way, because it's the hinge point between, say, the ending of last week and the beginning of the next week. You could have it over supper, you could have it over dinner. Please don't do this on a date night. This is not a date night thing. It's not for connection. It's for problem solving, right? But it should be at the same time every single week. You should review your calendars. You should have a to-do list that you lay side by side and figure some things out. Definitely recommend, especially in this day and age, you get something like a Google Calendar, an Apple Calendar, and you share them so that they're layered and you can see what everybody's doing at every single moment of time, so that you don't have to remember. You just pick up your phone and you know. It's a wonderful way of communication. Miscommunication causes so many conflicts in a marriage, and you can solve them just by preparing well ahead of time and having tools like calendars and to-do lists and weekly meetings to defray that, to make sure that that doesn't happen nearly so often. I always recommend that you ask these three questions. Every single meeting, every single weekly meeting, you ask these three questions. The first one is, what would you like to see more of? This is your chance to maybe tell somebody what they're missing. Or maybe you could even say, hey, I loved it when you came home from work and gave me a big hug. That was great. I'd like to see more of that. Right, the second thing is, what would you like to see less of? This is potentially a criticism, but it could be a compliment as well. It's up for you to think. I'd like to see less of this behavior. I'd like to see less of that attitude. I'd like to see less of this other thing here. And by the way, that should go a little easier because you already maybe gave them a compliment. You already maybe told them what they're good at, which is a good form. It's a good form. The third thing, what problems do we need to solve this week? This could be little Timmy's got a soccer game and we need to figure out transportation. This could be, I'm concerned about this, I'm concerned about that. Let's go ahead and do some budgets. Man, I'm really worried about taxes coming up. Whatever it happens to be, whatever both people are thinking about, let's deal with it now. I actually really like the idea that you deal with it every single week at the same time, because what if I have a problem with you on a Tuesday and we're waiting until a Sunday to have a weekly meeting? Maybe I'll just wait. What happens when I wait? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The chance that we're going to have a good conversation about this and that we're not just going to be causing problems and talking about random relationship problems all week, wouldn't that be wonderful? If you knew that if we're going to deal with something, we deal with it on Sunday. I'm not going to get ambushed by, I was unhappy with you today. Oh, I was unhappy with you the other day. Who wants to live in a relationship like that? Now, you're unhappy with them on Tuesday, write that stuff down. Write it down. And then bring it up on Sunday. You know what? If you don't even remember that you were unhappy on Tuesday, maybe don't bring it up. Maybe it wasn't that big of a deal. And maybe you could find better skills to handle that other than just excessive communication. Something bad happens on a Wednesday. Maybe write that stuff down. Does it still bother you? Then maybe you should bring that up in the weekly meeting, but you're in a much better emotional place to talk about it because maybe you've been thinking about it for 3, 4, 5 days. Right? Man, this should be a staple of every single relationship as far as I'm concerned. And if you don't have one, it's time to get one. I myself have one. We do it. We do it all the time. Sometimes multiple. Sometimes it takes 5 minutes. Sometimes it takes an hour. Whatever we need at that moment, it's going to get done. And then the week goes so much smoother because we're on the same page. We're doing the same thing at the same time. That's how teams work. That's how good businesses work. Be a good team. Be a good business. Love you guys, and I hope I've been helpful today. Take care.